LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er. It still doesn't feel real to say. Because if you had asked NBA fans a month ago where they thought LeBron would end up potentially finishing his career, Philly wouldn't have even cracked the top 3. Cleveland was poetic, Miami made sense after they traded for Giannis, Golden State would have been iconic with LeBron and Steph. Nope, instead, LeBron chose Philly. LeBron's last decision is made. So what's next? What does this team actually look like? How do they stack up in the East? And, of course, how does this affect LeBron's legacy? Firstly, I think Mike Gansey has been incredible. I have never seen an executive make this much of a splash in his first offseason running a team. He traded Paul George and 4 future picks for Jaylen Brown. Some smaller moves included signing Dean Wade and adding Anthony Simons, which I think is quietly a brilliant move to add some much-needed depth to the bench. But still, this roster had some shortcomings. They needed more size, more playmaking, so he adds LeBron James on a veteran minimum, which means that the starting lineup, if everyone is healthy, will be Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. That's the best starting 5 in the league, in my opinion, offensively. Defensively, not so much. Edgecombe is a solid defender, and Brown will need to defend at a high level, which he has shown to be capable of doing. But the biggest hole this roster has comes at the center position. Joel Embiid has missed nearly half his career due to injuries, and though he actually has played most of his playoff games, he's nearly always playing through injury. Embiid's backups are Adem Bona in his 3rd season and Ariel Hukporti, who the Sixers acquired from the Knicks after he played very limited minutes in 2 seasons. With Embiid's injury concerns, the fact that both of these bigs are relatively unproven is concerning. But outside of the 5 spot, Nick Nurse has a lot to work with. What's so intriguing about how talented the starting 5 is how much flexibility he'll have. He'll get to spend the whole regular season experimenting with different lineups, different substitution patterns. There's been a lot of discussion about how everyone in the starting 5 likes to have the ball in their hand and whether or not there will be enough touches. I do not see this as a concern. If you're just looking at usage number stats, you're missing so much nuance. Yes, Maxey's usage has been high because of the Sixers roster constraints, but he actually plays his best off ball. All of his most efficient scoring seasons came next to Harden. I also think Edgecombe will thrive off ball. Jaylen Brown was pushed into a much bigger role with Tatum out, and we all know LeBron is as adaptable as a superstar as anyone. He showed last season with the Lakers that he can score 20 when he wants to, but he can also slide into a playmaking role, and that's what I see him doing with this Sixers team. I think this version of LeBron is going to spend a lot more time creating for others, and putting him next to a backcourt as explosive as Edgecombe and Maxey is going to make that easier. The luxury with having this much shot creation across the roster is that it allows more flexibility for when there are injuries. This roster has enough firepower to withstand an Embiid injury night or a LeBron rest night. I'm not worried about them winning games. The biggest question marks for me are the defense and whether they can stay healthy enough for a deep playoff run. I expect that Embiid and LeBron, who let's not forget will be turning 42 this season, will be used very carefully throughout the regular season. So assuming this team is healthy, how do they stack up in the East? If you look at a team like Cleveland, Harden and Mitchell might not be strong defensively, but Mobley and Allen help make up for that. Then you have Giannis and Bam on the Heat, who are the best defensive frontcourt in basketball. But that team is missing playmaking and shooting, which is why LeBron would have been very helpful. Let's take a look at the champs. The Knicks look great. Losing Mitchell Robinson is tough, but they're still going to be the team to beat in the East. But let's not forget about the Pacers, who did beat the Knicks the postseason before they won. Tyrese Halliburton's injury forced them into a gap year, but they replaced Turner with Zubats, and they should still be really good. There's also the Pistons, who were the 1 seed, the Raptors, who are likely adding Kawhi, the Hawks, the Magic, the Celtics. Any of these teams can realistically make a run. But even with the East looking as stacked as ever, I still think the Sixers team will be a top 3 seed, next to the Knicks and maybe a team like the Pacers. For the Sixers, there's so much focus on the guys who are less inevitable to be healthy that I feel like we're losing the importance of the durability of guys like Brown, Maxey, and even Edgecombe. Brown led the Celtics to a top seed without Tatum last year. There's a reason this Philly team has been able to win in previous seasons with Embiid and George missing a lot of time. And Nick Nurse is a talented coach who has had to deal with a shorthanded team for the past several seasons. Due to their added depth, including two guys with very important championship experience and the rising stardom of Maxey and Edgecombe, this team has a real shot to make their first conference finals of the process era. And if they somehow win it all, if LeBron becomes part of bringing a ring to a fourth city, then somehow his legacy becomes even greater. Yes, what does this mean for LeBron's legacy? Some people say him choosing Philly is ring chasing, and he does openly say that a reason for choosing Philly is winning another ring, so technically sure. But I don't think Philly was this obvious finals team. Yeah, if he joined OKC or the Spurs or even the Knicks, it's fair to make those comments. But Philly is not this inevitable champion. I don't get why we're rewriting the narrative here. LeBron is taking a risk here, joining a new environment, a new fan base with a goal of winning another ring. He's won in every place he's gone, and now he's going somewhere new, hoping to keep that alive. He's going to the freaking Sixers, a team that hasn't made the conference finals in 25 years, to trust the process. And if he's able to help them finally complete the process, he becomes a hero in another city, and his GOAT argument gets even stronger. Of course, it would have been more sentimental if he had gone back to Cleveland or Miami for a hero's return, but LeBron has changed the NBA by being a legend who's unafraid to move teams. And the fact that he is doing that until the very end is pretty cool.